Yes, people, Manscaped is back, but this time it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of gradient settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.
Yes, good morning, people. I hope you're all doing well. Big up to every single one of you for being here nice and early. I hope you've had a great evening. I hope you're looking forward to today, and I hope that you are having fun wherever you are around the world. Please do me a favor and make sure you hit the like button on this one, and of course the subscribe button. We're getting very close to 25k now, and of course we want to hit the 30 as soon as possible, really, the big 3-0. So please make sure that you can do that with those two buttons. They're absolutely free: like and subscribe. Please make sure in the pinned comments you do click on that and go to manscaped.com. It will take you to the Beard Hedger. Please make sure when you select the Beard Hedger and add it to your cart, you will find that you'll have 20% off of the best beard trimmers around. So please make sure that you do that. Go and check out Manscaped and show them some love. Big up to everyone that's in the house at the moment. Please big up to everyone that's in the chat room. Morning to Ash. Morning to Alex from Forder on Football. Please make sure you go and subscribe to him. Morning to Pete. Morning to Wolves FI. Morning to Emerson. Morning to Nuances on Fire. Harlow, Colin, Kwame. Who else have we got in the house? Sergio. Aaron's here. Helsinki's here. PSV is here. Richie. We also have Ale. We have Martin, Steve. Another Steve, James, another Martin, and everyone else that is with us that is no longer in the chat or are in the house watching on catch up. Big up to every single one of you. Please make sure you go check out the show last night, man. Race for Europe was back. It was lit. It was a fantastic show, and I must say that Don was on fire. Deji was on form. Dan and Deji going at it. We had Don coming at me telling me that Lavia is better than Rice. It was a nightmare. Go check it out and see what you think for yourself. It was a lit show, lit panel, so to speak. So, yeah, please make sure that you do go and check that one out. Okay, we're going to bring you news today on Manchester United. We're going to bring you news on Arsenal, as ever. We're going to bring you news on some of the moves that could still be happening today as the window shuts, and free transfers and loans that are still going on, believe it or not, and some football news in the world of Arsenal. So please make sure you kick back, buckle up, and enjoy the video. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, because here we go. Let's get things kicked off with this guy. It looks as if Ten Hag is under huge pressure. And do you know why? Yeah, he's not very good. If I'm honest with you, I've never rated what I've seen of him at Manchester United. I heard good things over him at Ajax. There was at one stage I thought we should actually be looking at going for Ten Hag in the early days of Arteta when we were finishing 8th and 5th. And I thought, do you know what? Yeah, I can see the style of play over at Ajax. It looks very attractive. But my goodness, it's been a shambles and nothing short of a disgrace since he's been at Manchester United. 3 seasons in, still no style of play. And other than 3 players on the pitch, Rashford, Bruno, and maybe Dalot, every other player is a Ten Hag player. And I still can't see a style of play. Even with the players he wants, he still can't get a style going. So Manchester United fans, at the end of their tether, don't really understand why he's still there. I don't really understand why he's still there either. We know why he's still there, because he won 2 trophies in 2 years. But that just proves that even when you win something, sometimes you still aren't everyone's cup of tea. Big up to him for winning trophies. You take trophies any day of the week, but you have to be happy with the manager. And in the league, it is a shambles. 14 losses last season. It looks like he's heading that way again with the start that they've had. It is a shambles. There was a stat yesterday that suggested that Manchester City lost 3 games all season last year. Manchester United have lost 2 in their first 3 games. Shocking. So who's going to replace him? Well, at the moment, yes, you guessed it, the favourite is Gareth Southgate. Please make this happen. Yes, he deserves respect for what he did with England, but there is very much a difference managing a international, national club to, of course, a club. And I think Gareth Southgate would struggle in the Premier League. I really do. Why Ineos want him, I'm not so sure. What I've seen from footballing men, I thought was going to be a lot better than this. I thought the signings were going to be a lot better. I thought De Ligt was a good signing. I thought Lenny Yoro was a good signing. Other than that, not sure what else they have done. Then you look at the management situation and you think that's very strange to keep hold of Ten Hag. And now who they're replacing him with? It's not a Thomas Tuchel. It's not somebody with a winning CV. They're not going in for a Simone Inzaghi, a Diego Simeone, or even a Girona manager in Mikel. I think it is interesting that they want this guy, because that to me would worry me as a Manchester United fan base. Who's better, Ten Hag or Gareth Southgate? Let's just be real. For a moment, you think, yeah, it's got to be Ten Hag, right? Actually, he's doing a shocking job. But surely it's better than what Southgate can do, right? The tactics that Southgate have are poor. Having said that, he has at least got a style of play. Gareth Southgate's style of play is not very good. It is not very good. So let's hope that Gareth Southgate's the guy they want. I think Ten Hag will get sacked. It's not a matter of if he will, it's a matter of when he will get sacked. And I think if he's still the manager by November, I'll be stunned. Absolutely stunned. So please, for the banter, Gareth Southgate to Manchester United, people. I pray. Let's hope that happens. Let's move on to players who, let's be real, are still on the move. Victor Osimhen, after being linked with Chelsea, after being linked with Manchester United, after Liverpool were thinking and considering a bid, and of course the Saudi Arabian clubs in the Saudi Pro League, he has actually joined Turkey and he has gone to Galatasaray on loan. A very deflating end to what I thought was going to be a potentially exciting move for Victor Osimhen. And I'm sure, no doubt, he's feeling exactly the same. What has happened to Victor Osimhen and the hype of end of last season where, let's be real, he looked absolutely phenomenal. And then he went into the season just gone where it was an okay season, where he had an okay African Cup of Nations, but not amazing. Injury prone a little bit, but he can score goals. Didn't score as many. I think he got around about 14 to 15. Was it a bit more than that? Maybe it was 17. I don't know without looking. Goals for Napoli. And now he's gone to Galatasaray on loan, where Conte believes Lukaku is better than him. Wow. Obviously, we know why that is. He's got a big relationship and a very strong relationship with Lukaku. But my goodness, Osimhen to Galatasaray on loan. Makes you wonder, doesn't it, if now he would wind back the clock and say, I wish I would have gone to Chelsea or Arsenal on loan. Let's see where his head's at. Kieran Trippier is a guy who at the moment things are looking as if there could be a move for him. Now, Fenerbahce, Besiktas and other clubs over in Turkey are looking at him. There's also Saudi Pro League clubs that are after him, but that window is pretty much shut. And that looks as if that is not going to happen now. I think he's going to stay at Newcastle. There's no way Newcastle are getting rid of him now. 33, so he's not getting to any younger, but certainly can still do a job for Newcastle in the Premier League and has been a great right back of the Premier League. Let's be real. Can't see him going anywhere at the moment. I think that one will probably mean that he's staying now at Newcastle. Somebody who definitely is staying in the next couple of days is Christian Eriksen, according to Manchester United. He is staying. They are unlikely to let the 32-year-old Denmark midfielder leave this month. A player that, let's be real, Manchester United need in terms of their experience, but actually it's a player who I think has always given 110%. Maybe he's not got the legs anymore. Maybe he's in a decline as a footballer, but he can still put a cross in. He can still put a set piece in, and he can still be a good sub to come on and win you a game. So for me, I think it's a good move. They're keeping him for sure. Manchester United need all the help they can get, people. They look an absolute mess. They don't look any different than they did last season, in my opinion. There's nothing about Manchester United this year that I look at and think, oh, wow, yeah, at least they've done X, Y, Z to make them a lot more better in front of goal. At least they've done X, Y, Z to make them a lot more dominant in midfield, and at least they're better defensively. They should be all those things. They bought a striker, they bought midfielders, and they bought centre-halves, but it doesn't look like anything's changing because for me, the manager just is not good enough. I don't care what anybody says. He really is not. West Ham, very, very interesting, are looking at a centre-back on a free transfer. Now, Aguerd and Zuma have definitely been replaced now by what looks to be Todibo and Kilman as a partnership at West Ham. And they're looking at one more head to come in. Obviously, Mavropanos is still there as well as backup. And it looks like they're going for one of the two free transfers that follows, looking at Joel Matip, who, by the way, was a very underrated centre-half at Liverpool during their time under Klopp, where they won everything. I thought he was one of the most important players at the back alongside Van Dijk, who formed a great partnership with him. Now, I know that Konate and Gomez were also partners to Van Dijk, but for me, Matip, when Liverpool were at their best with the Hendersons and Wijnaldums and Bobby Firminos and Manes, I thought he was a vital part of the centre-back pairing, which allowed Robertson and Trent to bomb forward. And I think that this is a player that Liverpool have struggled to try to replace. Now, Konaté for me is better and potentially better, but when he was on fire, Matip was one of the best, man. He was criminally underrated. He really was. But he's got to an age now where you can see why Liverpool have let him go. But West Ham are interested in some backup defenders, and he is one of the names mentioned that could come in on a free transfer in the next day or two. The other player that they are looking at is John Egan, the old Sheffield United centre-half, who again is a free transfer. Now, West Ham looking at a backup, and one of these two names is on the list. Now, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I look at it and I think West Ham have probably had the best transfer window out of everybody. I really do believe that. I think West Ham have had a phenomenal transfer window, in fact. And in every position, they've pretty much strengthened. Whether you look up top with Fulkrug, whether you look out wide with Somerville, whether you look in the middle with the free transfers and business they've done there, they kept hold of Paqueta for at least this calendar year, and they've put a new partnership at the back. So for me, yeah, I'm a fan of what West Ham have done. The problem West Ham have got is, is Lopetegui good enough? We'll have to find out, won't we? We'll have to wait and see. Okay, what else is on the list? Anthony Elanga. Newcastle are very much interested in looking at Anthony Elanga. And it looks as if they're going to try again in the transfer window of the future. He's 22. He's younger than I thought. And the Swedish international is a player that Newcastle like. Now, it's weird talking about the transfer window when it's shut, but they are looking at this player as a right-wing option because they believe they need one. Now, they didn't actually do much more. Newcastle actually had a poor window, if I'm honest with you. Keeping their stars was probably the best part of their window. But Anthony Elanga is a player they're looking at, along with Madueke, as a right-wing choice that they haven't really got other than Jacob Murphy and Miggy Almiron. Haven't really done much, have they, to improve their squad. So Newcastle, I had them in the top 4 this season. I'm going to keep them there if they keep players fit. But if they get a couple of knocks, yeah, not good. Okay. This is interesting. Chelsea were willing to look or listen to bids from Disasi and also from David Fofana. And those bids were from Everton. So Everton were actually really interested in signing both Disasi and Fofana. Going the other way was potentially Calvert-Lewin. Now, that to me is a madness. I understand Everton are desperate, but you're picking 2 players that hardly get a game or a kick for Chelsea for your best number 9. Everton are a mess and have been for a while. Their ownership has been a disgrace. The way they've spent money, the way they've acted is just absolutely horrendous. And the amount of money that they put themselves in trouble-wise is also horrendous. They're a fantastic club. The one that I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for. Never been a rival of ours, but I've always respected them. Always looked at their fan base, always looked at their heritage, looked at the history of their club. And of course, I've got a place in my heart for Everton through Super Kevin Campbell. But I will say, I think Everton are in serious trouble. And at the moment, I would say they're the easiest fixture to face. Easier than Leicester, Southampton, Ipswich, etc. I think they are a mess right now. And Sean Dyche has got to sort it out. Because Sean Dyche has been known for keeping teams up. But this season, I think he could struggle to actually keep Everton up, and it could be their year. The way they're playing, it does not look good. It really doesn't. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens with Everton. It really will. This is the time to get your questions in, guys. Any questions you have for me, please make sure you send them in. I will, of course, star them. We will go through them towards the end of the show, and we will talk about what your thoughts are on all things football. So please ask me anything you want to send in. Please make sure you do ask that question, and I will, of course, star them, and we can go through them and see where we are at. Okay, get your questions in, people. That is your last warning, or your first warning, should I say. Let's talk about this player, shall we? Does anyone know who he is? No, I didn't until this morning. Vitor Reis, Brazilian centre-back from Palmeiras, 18 years old. Liverpool and Arsenal are among the clubs that are closely monitoring this player. Reports are suggesting that he is a young centre-half that is catching the eye of scouts. And over in Brazil, he's apparently performing. And he looks like a young, they say wonder kid. Who is this guy? Well, let's see. 18 years old, highly rated. It looks as if this is a player who a couple of clubs are looking at, and Liverpool and Arsenal are 2 of them. Anybody heard of him? No, I haven't heard of him at all. I have absolutely no idea. And I don't know if this is a position that we really need, if I'm honest with you, but I'm always looking to improve. I will say that potentially if Saliba was to get injured, I would still have problems because obviously we do have cover, but is it a proper centre-half coming in? It might be that Ben White, Tomiyasu or Timber have to do the job. But I will say this, I think it's interesting that we're linked with Wonder Kid still. And over in Brazil, Edu needs to do his job. So big up to them. This is coming in, of course, being reported that the injury to Mikel Merino has been confirmed, that it will be at a minimum of 8 weeks, which is 2 months out. We expect to see him mid-October. We need him. We need him back ASAP. We haven't got much strength in depth in midfield. I said this at the weekend. I was honestly questioning our midfield, and people were coming for me saying, what are you talking about, Dan? We're fantastic in midfield. Well, we've got Jorginho and Partey, and that's it at the moment, because Declan Rice and Marino are out. So although it's frustrating to get 2 people out at the same time, you have to prepare for that. We've got Ethan Nwaneri who can come in and do a job, but let's be real, we'd have to change the system. And it just feels frustrating that with 1 injury and a sending off, we now have to change the whole of our system because we haven't got a light for light coming in. That is incredibly frustrating, but we wish Mikel Merino all the best and we hope that he has a speedy recovery, of course. Let's talk a little bit about this yesterday. The news broke that the Saudi Pro League club Al Ittihad were looking at Leandro Trossard, and in fact they bid for Leandro Trossard for around 30 to 35 million. Now, it was rejected by Arsenal. They have basically said that there is absolutely no way that Trossard is going to be leaving Arsenal because he's a massive, massive part of our squad. He's pivotal to what we're doing this season. Now, thank goodness that is what come out of Mikel Arteta's mouth, because for me, the club selling him would be an absolute disgrace. I understand people are saying he's not happy about not starting every single game. Of course he's not. He's an Arsenal player that wants to start every single game. That does not mean he wants to leave the club. But Saudi are interested. And it seems that there's an opportunity for us to look at doing some business, but it's been rejected. Thankfully, I wouldn't even sell Trossard for bloody 70 million with that short at the moment. It's crazy to think that, isn't it? That we are so short up top, so short in midfield, and the transfer window has only just ended. Wow. We really are going for it this season with a squad of 16, when really we should be going for it with a squad of 20. So that's the way I see it. Let's now start with some of your questions. Please do me a favor. Make sure you hit the chat room with a question by putting a big capital Q at the start so I know exactly what you're going to ask me. And it's very easy for me to then star it. If you do want to throw in a super chat, of course, it will go to the front of the queue. But let's get to your questions. This one comes in from Tuslav, who says, assuming that Jesus is back after the international break, would you start him or Havertz up top against Spurs and City? Kai Havertz starts for me up top. I think he's the better number 9 out of the 2. I do think Jesus is a better footballer, but I honestly believe Jesus is more of a wide man. And I think he needs to be used as an impact sub now because we haven't got many. We've got Sterling that's going to be back. We've got Jesus that hopefully is back after the international break. I hope that Tomiyasu is back. I want to get some of these players. I want to get to a stage where only we go into that game and only Marino is out and Declan Rice through suspension. That's what I want to get to. We know Kieran Tierney's also injured as well, but we know that that's never going to really be a player we're using. So for me, having Marino as the only injury is the absolute key now. We need these players back because if you're starting to bring on Trossard or Martinelli from the bench, Jesus from the bench, Sterling from the bench, at least you've got some options up top that you can bring on, because against Brighton it was a shambles. It really was an absolute shambles. So I would start Havertz, mate. Absolutely, I would. Mark, big up, bro, says, Dan, do you think it was a chance missed by not signing Osimhen on loan? Absolutely, I do. I think if that was where he was going to go and end up, Galatasaray, we should have done more to try and get him in. We really should have. Now, it looks as if Chelsea were the only option other than Saudi. So it looked like we were going to pull away because I imagine we thought that there was one of those clubs that were going to come in for him. I imagine they thought that, yeah, potentially Osimhen going on loan to Galatasaray might now look like he didn't really have anyone interested, but I actually believe that he just had to leave the club and he was going to go Chelsea or Saudi. Because those haven't come to fruition and materialised, he's now thought, well, the only other option for me is to go to Turkey because the Saudi deal has fallen through. Chelsea deal was now shut and not an opportunity for it. And I actually think there is an opportunity for his team after Galatasaray, the loan is finished, for him to actually go over to. So that could be very interesting. Okay, let's take a look at the next question. Sorry, I'm still trying to star some. This comes from, where are we? No, done that one. Mustafa. Dan, who's your midfield for the North London derby if Rice and Marino are out? I was asked this yesterday. Some people are saying we should drop Havertz into midfield. Some people are saying we should drop Havertz into midfield by playing Martinelli through the middle and Trossard wide, or Trossard through the middle and Martinelli wide. There are options we've got, but we're going to have to change the system a little bit. I wouldn't do that personally. I'd keep Havertz as the 9 and I'd use our subs. And in midfield, I'd go with Jorginho and Partey as the double pivot with Ødegaard ahead, because I think you're bringing in experienced heads. Yes, you might slow your midfield down. You might have to change your system. You might not have a 6 and an 8, but that was our fault for not bringing in another 6 or another 8, wasn't it? So for me, only bringing in one of those options has allowed for us now to potentially slow our midfield down with Jorginho and Partey together. If he doesn't want to do that, I believe it will be Partey who starts, and then I believe it will be Havertz in the 8 and Ødegaard in the 10, and I don't really want that. I don't like Havertz in midfield. I think it's poor. The last time two times we did that, we lost to Bayern Munich and Aston Villa. I went out of the title, won the Champions League. So we do that and we lose this North London derby. On their heads be it, man. On their heads be it. That's the way I see it. Okay, big up, Mustafa. Thanks for the chat, man. Thanks for the question. PSV says, take Depay and Rabiot on a free to strengthen the squad. I don't think I'm that desperate, if I'm honest. I think we're in trouble, but I don't think we're in the crisis point of, oh my God, Rabiot needs to come in to disturb the squad and Depay needs to come in to disturb the squad. Two players that I think have definitely brought a level of toxicity to three clubs that they've been to. Not saying that they're troublemakers, not saying that their attitude's terrible, but they've definitely got question marks over that. I don't think they're going to come in and take us to a new level. I'd rather be bringing Ethan Nwaneri on. I'd rather be bringing on Sterling or Jesus, I think, than Depay, if I'm honest with you. So that's where I'm at. Some people disagree. Some people disagree. This one comes in from Pete. Hope you're well, mate. Says, surely we should be looking for midfielders and forwards. Look, the transfer window at the moment is shut. I don't think Mikel Arteta sees that it's still open for free transfers, for loans, for any other opportunity whatsoever. I think we've got our squad. I think he thinks the squad's good enough. And I think he believes that what we've got is ready to go and win the title. So let's see. Whether we think that's the case or not is different, but he thinks it is. Kwame says, Dan, do you think the January transfer window will be better than the last one? No, I don't. I think PSR has actually affected last January, this summer, and it will affect this coming January as well. I think PSR has basically said to everybody, you can buy players, but you're only really going to be able to afford about 100 million per window now, because you're going to have to sell players to self-sustain, which is fair for everybody now, but it's unfair for clubs that have already got their squads like Manchester City. It's unfair for people on Newcastle who are trying to catch up and have billionaire owners with 353 billion sitting in the bank. They can't spend any of it because PSR says no. But Manchester City could for the last 10 years. That's why it's really unfair, PSR. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, and I'd love them to get rid of it. Kevin Ball, what happened to our world-class players for getting into the Champions League? Yeah, listen, this was a stupid thing to say by Mikel Arteta and Edu. We are going to get our squad together once we're in the Champions League. We'll sprinkle it with gold dust and the world-class players will come in. They were the exact words, and that is not going to be happening. I think PSR has had an effect of that. I think next summer, I think we will go all out for Alexander Isak. I really do. I think that is clearly the missing piece of the puzzle. It might be that we need to go look at a couple of midfielders in the next summer. And it's mad, isn't it, that we've just shut this window and we're already talking about the following summer. Like, who are we going to get next summer then? Who are we going to get in January? Because that's a sign that you ain't done enough this window. It really is disappointing for sure. So let's see where we're at. Let's go through some of these questions again. Big up to Kevin for that one. Emerson says, do you think Raheem Sterling in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy against Leyton Orient tonight? What? Do you think that Raheem Sterling in the... I don't know that I'm understanding that one, mate. Sorry, apologies. Martin says, Dan, do you see Calafiori replacing Gabriel on the later sold in the summer? No, I don't. I really don't. I do see Calafiori coming in at left back. I don't think Timber's been that great at all. I think he's been good, but I don't think he's been anywhere near the level that he was when he came to the club before he got injured. Now, I understand why, because he's had a long injury. I don't think he's been bad, but I don't think he's been a massive upgrade on Zinchenko, if I'm honest with you. And I would have to say at the moment that Zinchenko has actually started the season better than him. It doesn't mean I play him because I don't rate Zinchenko at left back, but it does mean that I think Calafiori will have to come in. I don't think he's going to come in and partner Saliba. He might do in the future when Gabriel goes. He's 27 years old now, Gabby. He might get to 30 and, you know, we've got Saliba and Calafiori still at the club at 25, 26, and they might be the future partnership. That could be fair. But if I'm honest with you, I just don't see that happening right now. I really don't. Let's take a look at this next one from Aaron, who comes in and says, Edu and Arteta had made a plan or a process. Do you think sometimes they take risks like this summer to do bigger deals further down the line, like going big in January? But I think it's a big risk, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to go big in January because I don't think we've got the money to. I don't think PSR will allow that to. Sorry, I should rephrase that. I don't think PSR will allow us to spend the money we have because we are not skint. People that think we are, trust me, we're not. Then we go into the summer, and I think that there will be a massive midfielder and a massive striker coming in. It has to. But next season, we have to. We absolutely have to sort out what's happening with Sterling. We have to go back in for Nico Williams. We have to go in for Isak, and we have to go in and get a proper midfielder. I'm talking a Bruno Guimaraes, a Frankie de Jong, a Barella type midfielder. That's going to be needed, in my opinion. So big up to you, Aaron. This one comes in from Kwame. Says, Dan, we should use Jorginho and Zinchenko in the midfield for the North London derby. A lot of people are calling out for Zinchenko. A lot of people. They're saying that there is an opportunity for him to play in the 8. I don't like it, if I'm honest, because I've not seen it enough. Now, I've seen it when he plays at left back because he plays in midfield half the time. But that's a different system, right? Would he be able to play there? I'm sure, no doubt. Would he give us a little bit more athleticism and maybe a little bit more pace in there? Yeah, I think we would. I think he'd move the ball a lot quicker than somebody like Jorginho. But I just feel like Jorginho and Partey are the only two options that can come in because that's where they actually play. If we're putting Timber in there or we're putting Zinchenko in there, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Okay, where else are we? How many more questions are we? Oh, someone's coming for me here. Let's take a look. I like it when people come for me. PSR's a myth. It's not a myth, mate. Unfortunately, it's affecting everyone. Arsenal make 400 million a year off TV rights and Champions League and EPL money. Bullshit propaganda, FC. And then it says, any evidence for PSR, Dan? You don't understand it, mate. Do you know what? I'll give you that. I don't really understand PSR. I don't understand how it's allowed to be bought in. I don't understand how people can sit there and say that that is fair and making things fair. That's what I don't understand. We have money in the bank, mate. You're right. I think you've misunderstood what I've said. You said we've made all this money, 400 million in the bank, all this TV rights. You're bang on. Absolutely, you're bang on. But PSR is saying that you cannot be signing players for 400 million that you've made from that. Unfortunately, that can't happen. Why? PSR says so. So it's going to affect everyone, but everyone wanted it in because they thought it would be, oh my God, Man City are screwed. Chelsea are absolute mess. Nah, everyone is screwed us all. Absolutely screwed us all. So there we go. Corey in the house, love, bro, says, hey, Dan, how do you like being on the Forever Arsenal podcast? I love seeing you on there, mate, watching from Australia after work. Big up to you, man. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've been on there a few times. It's normally when James, Jordan, or Lee are unavailable or Turkish, I get the shout. They normally get a few people on there. I think it's normally me, Sharoy, a couple of other people that have been on there as well. So, look, I love them lads. I absolutely love them lads. I've got a lot of time for judges, as you know. I've got a lot of time for Turkish. I think he says it how it is and speaks sense. A lot of time for James. I think the way he's built his channel up is phenomenal as well. And I've got a big, big love for him. And I think he's been a breath of fresh air on AFTV. And I have to say that Jordan talks a lot of sense. And a lot of people don't like him for it. A lot of people don't like it. So I personally believe he's good. He's a good fit there. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Big up to you for that, man. I really appreciate you watching and your support, Corey. So big up to you, mate. Kevin says, if Arteta doesn't win the league or the Champions League, would you sack him? Not if he wins another trophy. If he gets to the FA Cup that he's lifting, the League Cup that he's lifting, and he goes in a title race, I will say fair play. You've taken us to another title race, and you've done that at the end of the season, which is what we all want to do. So absolutely, for me, I would keep Arteta if he wins a trophy and goes in for a title race again. But that's the bare minimum, right? If he goes into a title race again and we fail and we finish worse off than we did last year and we win nothing, I really don't know how we can keep him, man. I really don't know how we can keep him. So, yeah, let's see what happens. Okay. Excuse me. Where are we at? Really should be bringing drinks up with me. I always forget a glass of water and I'm actually dying for one right now. So I'm going to have to finish off these few questions. Michael says, Dan, how with the amount of money he has spent and the time he's been given, are we in this mess? Emory, whether we like it or not, didn't get a fraction of the backing that Arteta got. Do you know what? Let's talk about this because there's a lot of people talking about the Emory and Arteta thing still. There is no doubting that we were a shambles under Unai Emery. We were conceding 30 shots a game. We had a massively high line. Everyone was getting in behind it. We didn't have the the players needed. For me, I look at it and I think, do you know what? There's an opportunity for us to look back and say, with a new structure, with the backing that Arteta has had, maybe Emery would have done better. Maybe Unai Emery would have done better. I believe there's an opportunity to look at that realistically and go, look at what he's done at Villa. There is, however, also a look at whether Unai Emery was right for Arsenal and whether Mikel Arteta was right for Arsenal. If you look at where Arsenal were, would Unai Emery have got us title challenging in the same amount of time that Arteta has got us? I don't know is the answer. I don't actually know. When Unai Emery was here, however, there was Raul Sanllehi, there was Hus Fahmy, there was Ivan Gazidis, Edu had just joined. Once they'd got cleared out, the Cronkies took total ownership. Edu and Richard Garlick have come in. Other people have come in. Vinay Venkatesham, who's now left, obviously now he's been promoted, Garlick to CEO. You look at what Arteta has done alongside them and you go, do you know what? He's got us challenging. Absolutely. Emery's CV says I win things, Europa Leagues, for example. But Emery's CV also says when I go to a world-class club, I don't do very well. PSG, Arsenal. But when he goes to Villarreal and he wins the Europa League, and Seville and he wins 3 Europa Leagues in a row and he takes Villa into the Champions League, you think, wow, this is perfect. I think that's what Emery needs, is a club at that level to go and try and do mad things with. And I'm not really sure that Emery at Arsenal was the right fit. I do think he's a better manager than Mikel Arteta. I think that's clear. That's the way I see it, man. That's the way I see it. Right now, personally, yeah. Arteta has done a great job at Arsenal to get us challenging. He hasn't done a great job in winning the stuff. That's for sure. So, yeah. That's what I'll say. Okay, last few questions. Kwame says, Dan, would you use Sterling for our derby of Tottenham? I'd definitely bring him on, for sure. There's an argument that actually he could try and push himself into this first team, because on the left, it doesn't look like Trossard or Martinelli can hold it down. So for me, nah. Let's see what happens. Sterling could get an option there. Tuslav says, I've realised that if you hope for too much in the transfer window, you'll end up being disappointed. We should lower our expectations and try to work with who we have in the squad. Look, it's fine to lower your expectations at time when you believe that you're going to go and win trebles. But when you're just asking for a trophy at a good transfer window, I think that should be what you're demanding. I don't think we should be lowering it and going, oh, do you know what? A loan and 20 million net's fine then. That's not where I'm about. So, yeah, big up to you. Jack says, was Marino injury... was he injured before he came? If so, how did he pass the medical? No, he wasn't injured before he came. Unfortunately, Gabriel fell on him in training, which is the third time that's happened, by the way. Vieira fell on Smith Rowe and injured him. Gabriel fell on Tommy Asu and injured him. And now Gabriel's fallen on Merino and injured him. What the hell are they doing in training? Wrestling. That was what I suggested that they were doing. Crazy. Mr. Waffle, Dan, where do you honestly see us finishing this season? In my opinion, we'll finish behind Liverpool with another trophy this season. Listen, it's fair to have that opinion. I think Liverpool started very well. I also will say this. Although Liverpool started well, they're going to have a lot of challenges coming their way. Arne Slot is a completely different manager, and they have not done enough in the transfer window, in my opinion, by just buying Chiesa. They haven't got a number 6. They haven't got a number 9 that can stay fit because Jota's their only one. I don't think they have a centre-back pairing that doesn't get injured because Van Dijk and Kenyatte look injury-prone. They don't have a left-back to cover for Robertson that's any good. For me, personally, I still think they'll come third, and I still think Arsenal will come second. If I'm looking at the league right as it stands now, Manchester City are too strong. They're going to walk it. I think they're going to actually win it by about 9 or 10 points this year. They look ridiculously good. As for Arsenal, I think we will come second, but it will prove that we haven't done enough in the transfer window by that, and we will come second. And I think Liverpool will come third. I think we'll win a trophy. I think we'll go for the domestic cup seriously, and I think we'll have to go for the FA Cup or the League Cup. I think we will win one of those because we're second favourites now for the FA Cup, the Premier League, the League Cup, and of course the Champions League. I would say, where are we? Third or fourth favourites after Bayern Munich, PSG? No, Real Madrid, Man City and Bayern Munich. And then I'd say Arsenal, if I'm honest with you. I really would. So I think we're second favourites to win 3 and 4 favourites to win a Champions League. So let's see what happens there. Listen, big up to everybody for being here. I really appreciate all of the love. I really do. And it means a lot. Please make sure you do me a favour and hit that like button. I really need you to get the likes up, people, because there's not even 100 likes in it. There's over 300 people watching. So please make sure you do me a favour. Hit the like button and hit subscribe. Please make sure you do that. And I'll be back later. 9 p.m. this evening, there will be a show. The Arsenal Roundabout is back with elite guests that you will all know from their content that they do and that you watch. So please make sure that you are joining us for that one. Hit the like button. Let's get over to 100 likes very, very quickly. And then let's push for 300 likes today, people. Big up to every single one of you for watching live, for being in the chat, for all of your questions, and of course for watching on catch up. We'll see you next time. Take it easy. Hit a like and subscribe. I'll see you tonight at 9 o'clock. Hit the notification bell and show Manscaped some love. Big up, people.
Yes, people, Manscaped is back, but this time it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of radiant sayings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.